இனிமே கண்ணை மூடிட்டு கடலை எண்ணெய் வாங்கலாம். ஏன்னா மந்த்ரா கடலை எண்ணெய் இதயத்தின் தயாரிப்பு.
உங்கள் தொழிற்சாலை மற்றும் நிறுவனத்தின் மின்சார தேவையை வங்கி நிதி உதவியுடன் சொந்தமாக சோலார் பிளான்ட் அமைத்து முழுமையாக நீங்களே பூர்த்தி செய்து கொள்ளலாம். வேலன் இன்ஃப்ரா ப்ராஜெக்ட் பிரைவேட் லிமிடெட், சென்னை. 9842252166.
Good morning, and what a very motivating gathering this is. The annual business summit of the CII has always been one such a forum which had critical thinking and laying a path towards the next few years. This is my assessment of the annual business summit. Coincidentally, it could mark the end of one presidency and the beginning of another, which is going to probably be the case this time as well, with the Dinesh laying down office today and Puri taking it over tomorrow. But it has always been a time when CII has laid before itself and before the nation an approach to working together with the government and also making sure that globally industry partnership takes a clear-cut route so that the global challenges are faced with a greater understanding and the national opportunities that exist are also fully leveraged. And because of this nature of the annual business summit, I've always found it a very meaningful morning spent, sometimes in the evening, I think. And I've had the benefit of taking away quite a few thoughts which have come out of this gathering. Even otherwise, I've always maintained that CII is one such an industry forum which gives the public policy makers an advantage in that the sharing of ideas emanating from a CII meeting has always been so well rooted, well thought through. And as a result, for any government, this would be one of the things to do from the takeaway that we really benefit from. So it's kept itself very close to the industry, to all its members, and also to the economic environment which is prevailing in a country or in the context of the global developments. So I've always found this useful for me, found it very rewarding for me to be participating with you all. And again, therefore, to Dinesh and to the entire CII team, I really express my gratitude for giving me yet another opportunity to be here, to share my thoughts, and also to hear from you. We are at a stage in India where hearing is fine, listening is fine, taking inputs is fine, but it cannot be accompanied with comments or opinions. It's election season. Model code of conduct works. No slip is entertained. So I'm here to convey probably just a picture of what lies before us in India. And being the fastest growing economy, very well recognized by global observers and institutions about Indian economic, macroeconomic strengths for India, I wish to take this opportunity to just lay the path before us, which would be something the industry and sometime soon after the government is formed post-election. And let me say here, we are confident that Prime Minister Narendra Modi is coming back with a good majority. And therefore, soon after the government is formed, we look forward to a more pointed engagement with the CII to see what best can be done in the July budget, which will be the full year's budget, because what happened on 1st February, as you all know, was a vote on account. It just takes care of the expenditure for the first quarter till such a time the new budget is presented. And for the new budget, therefore, a lot of consultation can begin with the CII team as well. So I'll lay before you some fundamental indicators which you can use for co-creating the future responsibly, not just for India, for also for your partners elsewhere. India's story is a compelling growth story. India's story is a compelling growth story for several reasons. I'm not going to elaborate the reasons before you, but some things which have been observed by very many groups around the world are worth placing now before us. The IMF estimated that India's contribution to the global growth for 5 years beginning 2023 will be 18%. So between 2023 and 28, we are looking at an India which is going to be actually very dynamic, contributing 18% to the global growth. Now, another agency, the S&P Global Market Intelligence, has also highlighted quite a few points. I'll highlight only 3 of what the observations are. The Indian consumer market is likely to double by 2031. I'm not saying from where it is going to reach what level. I'm only highlighting the opportunity that lies in that consumer market doubling. $2.9 trillion opportunity lies waiting in that. S&P also says consumer spending on food is estimated to rise to 1.4 trillion US dollars. Again, a $1 trillion opportunity lies in waiting in that as well. S&P's third observation, spending on financial services will climb to 670 billion US dollars. There, it's a $390 billion opportunity that lies waiting for us. So, fastest growing economy will continue to remain as the fastest growing economy for the next few years as well, as much as people can foresee. But what is actually contributing to this fastest growing economy that lies untapped till now? These are the kind of opportunities. We also know clearly both the central bank, that is RBI in India, and the government's own economic survey reports have repeatedly said, from those days of twin balance sheet problem in 2013-14, today it is a twin balance sheet advantage situation. So both the corporate sector's balance sheet and the government and the financial sector's balance sheets have all just not turned around the corner, are now in pink of health. And if that is the case, the vibrancy with which investments can happen, expansions can happen, and the banking sector can be buoyant enough to address the credit requirements, push the economy faster, make sure that the big and small all have credit access, and that the banks themselves will therefore be able to be the track on which the economy can move fast. So the twin balance sheet advantage, as the RBI called this development, is there before us for both the opportunities and for the confidence element that this situation gives us. Much has been said about the demographic dividend. But I also want to underline the fact not just that it gives you skilled manpower, on which the skilling exercise is both from the private and also the public sector, some also with industry groups themselves identifying the level of skilling and in the areas of skilling that they want, inclusive of AI, deep data. Skilling is really being ramped up in India. So the demographic dividend, which will persist for the next 30 years. So you're talking of India's growth story. You're talking of where the opportunities lie, whether it is the consumer spending, as I just gave you 3 points from the S&P intelligence report. I also want to underline that the window of this demographic dividend is there before us for the next 30 years. And this demographic dividend for the next 30 years is historically lowest on dependency. So it comes with that added advantage that demographic dividend with the historically lowest dependency ratio, which means the net benefit is going to be towards more increase in consumption. Another highlightable point, which I'm sure is already observed, is India's transition towards green energy, green economy, sustainable and future, which is responsibly got to be built up. It is sure to generate a new market and global demand. A 2021 report of the World Economic Forum projects that 50 million net new economy jobs are going to be created in India because of that, and a 1 trillion economic impact by the year 2030. You already see that in solar energy, the push that has been given due to the favorable policies of the government, other than, of course, the favorable policies on green hydrogen, green ammonia, all of which are really taking good concrete shape. The solar energy itself has shown the extent to which job creation possibilities exist at various levels, various skill sets, and skill set levels also being different has generated a lot of interest. With these advantages placed before you, I also want to underline, much against the uh, advice given by some economists that India should no longer be looking at manufacturing or ramping up manufacturing, I like to highlight the fact that manufacturing must increase. India must also increase, with the help of policies, its share in manufacturing in global value chains. So we need to have greater sophistication in our product manufacturing. We also need to see how best this can be given policy support. Capgemini Research Institute gave a report which came out in May 2024 that India figures at the top of the list of investment destinations for senior executives in Europe and in the US who are looking to reduce their dependence on China and shift part of their manufacturing capacity to emerging markets. So their preferences for India, 65% of nearly 760 executives surveyed were planning to increase investments significantly in India. Expanding manufacturing also will be to help India be self-reliant, Atmanirbhar Bharat. Presently, the telecom sector's PLI has actually helped India to become better Atmanirbhar, in that 60% import substitution has been achieved in the telecom sector. that itself gives quite a big scope for our Indian industry. PLI scheme is also transforming the mobile and electronics sectors from 78% import dependence in 2014, from 78% import dependence in 2014. Today, 99% of all mobiles sold in India are made in India. 99%. Value addition in electronics and smartphone manufacturing too have grown significantly, having crossed 2014-15. India is becoming Apple's second largest manufacturing hub for iPhones outside of China. iPhone exports nearly doubled in April 2024, reaching $1.1 billion compared to 580 million US dollars in just the previous year. So that 1 year rapid growth is very noticeable. If I'm speaking of manufacturing sector, there's a word to be said about the service sector as well. India commands over 50% of the world's global capability centers and remains the most preferred destination, creating significant domestic and global opportunities in the service sector. The number of GCCs in India has increased by approximately 60% since 2015-16, reaching more than 1,580 in 22-23. So I would like to present that the fundamental basis for this consistent and steady growth and high growth is the policy stability, absence of flip-flops, corruption-free decision making, and making sure that the facilitation both in legislative and also the legal frameworks are all simultaneously going on, having heard from the industry that rapid changes are required in our compliance regime. So, without taking more of your time, I would want to underline the fact that the Prime Minister Modi-led government looks at private sector as a partner in developing India, even as we set 2047 as the year in which or by which India should become a developed country. We see a very big role for private sector, and we would like to partner with them in the development, government acting as a facilitator and an enabler. CIA's annual business summit, of course, serves, as I said earlier, as a platform for collaboration, innovation, and for strategic planning. It enables you and also us to synergize the efforts, share insights, and harness the collective experience and expertise in various sectors. I hope India makes the best use of it. So thank you once again for giving me this opportunity.